Welcome to another episode of Balancing Acts. I'm your host, Linda Hamilton, and this show is dedicated to helping you grow a profitable business, balance all those priorities competing for your time and your money, and helping you get off that hamster wheel we often feel we're on. Today, we're going to talk about sales prospecting, personal branding, and leveraging AI tools with Mario Martinez. Mario is the CEO and founder of Vengreso, the creators of flymessage.io. He spent 25 years in B2B sales, marketing, and executive leadership. And he was one of the 20 influencers included in The Story of Sales, a documentary produced by Salesforce. And he hosts the Modern Selling podcast, which is one of my absolute favorites. Mario, welcome. And so happy you could join us today.
Linda, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here with you and all of your guests as well.
So I want to start with what I'm dying to know is about your experience in the Salesforce documentary, The Story of Sales. What was that like being in there? What was the purpose of the film?
Well, Salesforce decided to put together a documentary about the life of a salesperson and sales evolution and where it started, where it came from. And they decided to do this in the form of both practitioners as well as influencers that can help really help the message around sales and really looking at sales, whether you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, or actually a salesperson or a BDR, an SDR, any of those types of things, to be able to help people understand, hey, why are we here? How do we help? Where did it come from? What's the evolution of technology? And then bring that to light in terms of being able to actually help an individual be better at the art of selling. And so they actually sourced about 20 different sales influencers and practitioners in their process. And I was one of the 20 folks that was selected from around the globe to be part of the documentary. And it was really awesome, especially when my famous line in the movie is sales is the art of helping. And there's a whole story behind how that came to be. And it was introduced at the Sales Cloud keynote the year after it was published. And then I started getting text messages from everyone at Salesforce at the Dreamforce event saying, "Oh my God, I just saw you on screen." And I wasn't there, of course. I mean, I was actually there, but I was inside of a meeting room, so I wasn't watching the Sales Cloud keynote. And everybody saw me on screen, and that's how I figured out that I went mainstream at Salesforce.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And that doesn't surprise me that you would make a comment like that because it's so important. So Vengreso started as a training organization, and that is how I first learned of it in 2020, taking some of your amazing trainings on both sales and LinkedIn. But what inspired your pivot to become a technology company, a software company?
Great question. So you're right. We started out as a sales prospecting training company. We grew to become the largest digital sales prospecting company globally. In fact, our crescendo was when the world's largest sales training methodology company, which was Miller Heiman Group, a 43-year-old iconic brand, they actually hired for the first time in their 40-year history an outside sales training company, and that was Vengreso. So we actually did really well there, and in that process, of our training, we would provide over 60 different types of sales scripts that would help a seller or a business owner or entrepreneur learn to engage with their target buyer, whether it's through a cold email message template or how to wish someone a happy work anniversary, how to connect with someone. And that script or that playbook, if you would, was 27 pages long, 60 different scripts. And what we discovered in that process was that when an individual, a seller, business owner, etc., when they wanted to use our script, they would have to go out and find the document. Then they would have to scroll through the 27 pages, copy it, paste it, and then they would put it onto LinkedIn, email, Salesforce.com, any of those types of applications. What we also discovered at the same time was that sellers also had a playbook from their manager, their own set of greatest hits that they stored on a Google Doc, Word Doc, OneNote, Evernote, Notepad, notebook, draft email, or worse yet, they hunted and packed inside their sent folder each and every time. So we said, hey, we're actually destroying the productivity of a seller. Let's create this tool called Fly Message. Now, Fly Message was in its original form, a text expansion tool, a text expander. And so we launched it. It was a free tool. We gave it to our customers at no additional cost so that it would help support our training programs. Well, that grew its own set of legs. And not only were sellers beginning to use it, but then we figured out that every other role that you could possibly think of, from digital pharmacists to mortgage brokers to real estate agents to stay-at-home moms, college professors, accounts payable, that they actually started utilizing it as well for repeatable messages. So we took a step back and we said, I think this might be the opportunity for us to go out and to create recurring revenue streams that is based upon a SaaS model. And that's exactly what we did. My then co-founder of the organization, we put a 12-month plan in place to convert the company. It took us 13 months to transition. We got our first round of venture capital funding. We call it our pre-seed round. And that was, well, friends and family, and then the start of the pre-seed round. And we went at it and we started that process. And now we're about 2 years into that process.
And it's really, I have followed the journey and used the tools myself, and it's really been amazing. The access to capital, or the lack thereof, is often a constant topic. And all the masterminds groups, I teach a lot of business planning workshops myself. What growth strategies did you consider as you were trying to develop a SaaS product? And what were some of the challenges you faced in it?
To clarify, are you talking about growth strategies to get capital or growth strategies to grow the product?
They're very different. How
They are different.
Take your choice there.
Well, certainly trying to fundraise in 2022, 2023, and 2024. We started that process really actually in the late part of 2022 was our friends and family round. In 2023 and 2024 has been exclusively around our pre-seed round. And that process is very different than 2021 and previous years. So different that one of our competitors raised their round in 2021, and they, because he was a previous founder that sold his company to LinkedIn, was able to get $35 million in round one with zero revenue.
Wow.
Now, that is almost unheard of. And if you look at some of the other competitors, they raised $3.5 million very quickly and easily. Now, we thought that we'd be able to do the same, but the market changed significantly. And so it's basically become an investor market to really figure out the deals that they want. So we spent a lot of time sourcing through over 300 different investor meetings that we had, just to be able to get 3 major investors into the company. And so that is a normal ratio. Unfortunately, it is a tough market out there. And in terms of growth strategies, if you're thinking about launching a SaaS-based technology company, one thing that we had going for us, which I would redo all over again, but my then co-founder at the time and I are both social media influencers, one marketing and one sales influencer. And so what we did is we actually went out and raised a friends and family round of almost $250,000, and that was through individuals that could crowd fund the process. And so we made that a big social media event, and we raised quite a bit of money for the friends and family round, which is a good chunk to be able to help kickstart with the development process. And then we used all 140 plus investors to essentially load up their LinkedIn profile with our company brand. And as they did that, we then turned around and got more visibility as a result of their network because of how LinkedIn worked with optimizing the brand to their entire network. And then in addition to that, we started looking for referrals, and that's how we started the venture capital process. And it was essentially through a referral and through a 2 cold outbound outreach that was able to secure our pre-seed round for funding. So that process was arduous. It was long, We actually worked with a company that I highly recommend the process. It was a pretty penny. It was quite a bit of money to be able to get your pitch deck done to help you present. They take you through the learning and the coaching and the development, help you with the financial process. And then the first 140 crowdfunding investors, while they're all micro investors, it helped me to perfect the pitch, essentially. And that was super helpful. So those are some of the growth hacking strategies that we use to be able to raise our round. And then you really were responsible for selling your vision. And in this early stage, you're selling the vision, you're selling what's to come, unless you've got massive amount of traction. On the actual growth side of the house, interestingly enough, we spent the first about 11 months trying to drive a product-led growth strategy. Product-led growth, if you think of applications like Calendly or LinkedIn in its original days, or Dropbox, where one person downloads something for personal use, they refer it to 5 other people who refer to 5 other who refer to 5 other. So that's called product-led growth, or PLG. And so we really tried getting that engine cranking on the product-led growth, and that was very difficult, to the point that we actually almost went out of business. And so that was scary, right? The roller coaster ride. It wasn't all gravy. I'm being very upfront and center about this particular journey. And then one of our investors said to me that we sat down, we were at the SaaStr conference, and we sat down for a solid few hours. And at that point, it was, hey, if you do not change the trajectory, you will be out of business. And so that's when we had to start looking at, all right, how do we actually go back to sales-led growth? Now, sales-led growth is the outbound component. That is, you're looking for a potential enterprise buyer for a 100-user license, as opposed to finding 100 people who buy a license who tell another 100 more, 100 more, 100 more. So I was a believer that we absolutely needed to go to a sales-led growth model. I was also a believer that the product-led growth model could work, and it could be the feeding ground for the sales-led growth opportunities. So what I did was I decided to automate everything around product-led growth. And to the point that, people feel like they're talking to me, but they're really not, because I don't have the time to spend with 16,000 customers 30 minutes a piece, and only, get $27 for that, for the annual license fee.
And we could do almost an entire show. We're going to take a commercial break in a moment. We could do an entire show on the things to know about crowdfunding, how important they are, friends and family rounds, and your wealth of knowledge. I hope you'll write a book about it eventually. We're going to take a commercial break and come back and talk to Mario about personal branding and LinkedIn.